HMAS Legends, it's not a criminal offence not to know how to divide decimals. However, you shouldn't have to cop it either. Today, we're going to be learning about dividing decimals and all those little hacks that you can use to get you on your way. All right, good luck with your sums. Okay guys, so what we've got here is we're looking at these decimals. So these are just normal division sums. And we see these guys all the time. So look, if you're still struggling a little bit with with division, I encourage you to go revisit the flip video on decimals. However, if you want to push forward with this and you're pretty comfortable with it, here you go. Now, decimals play a little bit more of a challenging part of it all. The decimal point plays a bit more of a challenge here. The first thing, same as multiplication of decimals, we need to look at and give ourselves an estimation of what that answer could be. Now, I look at the first one. I forget anything after the decimal point for now with my estimate. I just say, how many 2s are there in 5? Well, there's 2 and there's a bit, okay? There's 2 2s in 5 and a little bit. So I'm just going to put the number 2, okay, 2 there. I'm going to come back to that in a little while, okay, as I work through. So there's my estimate is 2, all right? Let's go back now and let's calculate the sum together. Always do the swoops. I can't stress that to you enough. Swoops help you to know where you're going next. So how many 2s are there in 5? Well, there is 2 2s in 5 and then 1 remainder. And you'll notice that my 1 just sits to the left-hand side of that number. And just like you would do when you're subtracting, is I've now put that number, that 1 goes in front of that 7 and it becomes 17, all right? I then put a swoop over to that 17. Not a very good swoop, that one. It's a bit wonky. How many 2s are there in 17? Well, if I know my times tables pretty well, I could say, well, there are 2 8s in 16. Okay, so 2 8s in 16. So I'm going to say there is 8, remainder 1. Okay, 2 8 16. And then how many 2s are there in 14? Well, straight away, I know that there are 7 2s in 14. I'll go back to my estimate now, okay, and I'll look at the reasonableness of my answer. Is my answer going to be 287? No, okay. I then know that my estimate was about right. It was around 2, okay. So I know I put my decimal point just there, okay. 2.87, all right. Sometimes it's easy. You could just put the decimal place where it is now. But I like to get you guys to understand if your answer's the reasonableness of your answer. Okay, on to the next one. Here we go. We've got 3 into 72. 3 into 72. So what I'm going to say is I'm having an estimate here. I'll have a little bit of a think about it. I might say, well, 3 times 10 equals 30. Okay. I times that by 2. So 3 times 20 equals 60. Okay, so 3 times 20 equals 60. And then I know that I've got 12 left over. So 3 times 4. 3 4s are 12. And I add my 4 onto my 20. So roughly my answer is going to be around 24. There's my estimate, okay? Probably a bit more calculating. It's not so much an estimation, but I know it's not exact, but I think the number is going to be around 24. Let's have a look and see how correct I am. My first sum I'm going to look at is how many threes are there in 20? I'm going to draw that little swoop again because I want the swoop to be nice and neat. How many 3s are there in 70? Or in 7, sorry. How many 3s are there in 7? Well, of course, there's 2 3s with 1 remainder, okay? How many 3s are there in 12? How many 3s are there in 12? Well, 3 4s are 12, so I put a 4 there with no remainder, okay? I've got a decimal place here, okay? I can either carry my decimal place up the top or I look at my reasonableness of an answer, okay? Then I go, how many 3s are there in 4? Well, there's 1, of course, and then there's a remainder of 1. And so what I'm going to do here, now, you could put very easily a remainder 1 there. If the question you're answering is asking for a remainder, your remainder is 1, okay? But because we're looking at decimals, I want to try something different, okay? I'm going to add a 0 to the end of this sum. I'm going to add a 0 here. And when I do that, I can now take because we know that there are, how many 3s are there in 4? Well, there's 1, and there's a remainder of 1, okay? So how many 3s are there in 12? There is 1, remainder 1, and now I can carry, now I've had that 0, I can actually put my 1 down the bottom. How many 3s are there in 10? Well, of course, there are 3. And again, I have a remainder of 1. How many 3s are there in 10? Of course, there's another remainder there, and then a 1. And what we find out is that this just continues. And we do a little scribble up there to say that it's continuing. I go back to my estimation. Well, I said when I looked at it, I was how many in 72 with that decimal point there, and I've got that there. What you'll find is when you do it this way with these zeros, it's just like when you use a calculator to check your answers, and sometimes it doesn't give you how many remainders there are. It gives you it in decimals. Well, this is how you figure it out in decimals. All right, legends, let's go on with the next one. You can have a go at some sums and then see how you go. All right, legends, hopefully you might recognise Swoop here from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to tell you the importance of making sure that you add your swoops in your division sums. Now, originally I was going to get you to do the first one by yourself, or get these to do by yourself, but the first one has got a bit of a challenge in it. So I'm going to go through that with you now, and then I'll get you to give the next two a go by yourself. Let's have a look at the first one. So straight away, it's 8. How many 4s? Well, how many 4s have we got in 8? Well, there are 2. All right, no remainder there. Then we say, how many 4s are there in 2? There aren't enough, okay? We can't do that. So we need to put a 0 up the top, because there are 0 4s in 2. And what I do here is I actually add these two numbers together, okay? Add those two numbers together. So all of a sudden it becomes about how many 4s are there in 27? How many 4s are there in 27? So what I can do, I can go up the top, I can go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. So I count those up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 4s are 24. So I've now put my 6 down here, and I know I've got how many remainder? Well, 24, 25, 26, 27. I have a remainder of 3. And how many 4s are there in 30? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remainder 2. Okay. And how many have I got in? So how many 4s are in 20? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's look at our sum to look where we're going to put that decimal place. Now we could easily know that we just put it back up where we left off, but I want you to look at the reasonableness of your answer. So I want to see how many 4s there are in 82. Well, I can tell you that there are 4 times 10 is 40. So 4 times 20 is 80. So I'm pretty close to that 20. So I'm going to estimate that it's 20, okay? This tells me where I put that decimal place. All right, pause the video here now, and then I want you to go back and have a look at the next two sums by yourself. Okay, guys, so hopefully you've got your answer now there. So for the second one, it was 12.4 with 410th. And then you've got the next one is 7.8833, and that's a continuing number. All right, see how you go. Check through mine. You can see where my calculations are and see if you got it right. Otherwise, I'd encourage you to re-watch this video or watch the one on division that goes through my strategy, how we go about dividing. All right, good luck. Thanks.